But to most people, the intense feeling of being in love is worth a few personality changes. A few, or maybe 100. I'll go easy and present 10 silly things that many people do when they're in love. Walk slower. This one applies mostly to men. Men tend to adjust their speed, meaning in most cases, they slow down when they're walking with their female partner. Science backs this up. A 2013 study in which the walking speeds of male and female partners and male and female friends were recorded found that males slow down 0.2 miles per hour to equal the speed of their female partner, who did not change speed, while both males and females in friendships adjusted their walking speed to meet in the middle. 2. Speak with a higher voice. This change applies to both men and women. Studies have shown that females tend to talk in a higher voice to people they're attracted to. But men in relationships may also speak higher to stay on the same emotional wavelength as their partner. Laugh constantly. People who are in love tend to laugh more with their partner, without their partner, and by themselves. Being in love means that your brain releases additional dopamine, serotonin, and oxytocin, which are chemicals that will leave you feeling good, laughing more, and smiling more. You may even catch yourself smiling and laughing while you're thinking about your partner when he or she is not around. 4. Stare at your reflection. After falling for someone, most people start caring more about their appearance. This can lead to more time staring at oneself in the mirror. It can also lead to unnecessary beauty and clothing purchases. People will go to great lengths to look good for the ones they love. 5. Listen to songs on repeat. Songs can become symbols of love. When you and your partner bond over a song, or a song happens to play during a defining moment of the relationship, it will have special significance from that day forward. Such songs may then be played obsessively. 6. Rely on your partner to make decisions. People who are in love become less like individuals and more like a unit. Deciding starts being made in tandem. Partners can rely so much on the other's input that when one needs to make a decision on their own, they find themselves unable to do so. 7. Call your partner strange names and talk in strange voices. Besides calling your partner baby, sweetie, cutie, and other nicknames that you could have never pictured yourself using, you and your partner may engage in what can only be described as baby talk. This cutesy-wootsy vernacular is used by many lovers and has actually been explained by science. Talking in the same strange way strengthens an intimate relationship, like smiling at another person who is also smiling strengthens a platonic relationship. Psychologists call this mirroring. Take unnecessary risks. This is another male-specific symptom of love. Research has shown that men take greater risks when they're in a romantic relationship. Men have been conditioned as protectors, and this instinct is intensified when they're in love, which can then manifest in dangerous and unnecessary ways. Love was found to have no effect on female risk-taking. 9. Become dumber. When a person is in love, their mind tends to focus on that fact. It should come as no surprise then that research has found that such people are less able to focus on important tasks. This love-induced cognitive impairment has been compared to a drug and alcohol intoxication. Plan far into the future. Homes, pets, wedding vows, honeymoon destinations, and children are some of the thoughts that may pop into the head of someone who has just fallen in love. Although these thoughts may not be realistic or have no chance of being realized until far into the future,
lust has a reputation for being the flame we jump into. Think of 50 Shades of Grey or your classic bad boy or bad girl who's all games and danger with no strings attached. But according to leading love expert Dr. Helen Fisher, lust is the essential first stage of love. Without the desire of wanting someone first, we cannot experience intimacy. So, how do we know if we're still stuck in the initial stage of attraction or ready to transition into something more meaningful and long-lasting? Here are 6 key differences between lust versus love. 1. Lust is driven by physical connection, but love comes from emotional connection. It all comes down to our brain. Which areas are being activated when you hang out with your partner? Research shows that lust lights up the regions associated with reward and motivation, whereas love stimulates the areas that help you empathize. Lust happens when you and your partner don't have much to talk about but have great sex. This is common for two people who haven't been dating for too long. But love, on the other hand, happens when you appreciate your partner for more than just their looks and can spend meaningful time with them. This is what ultimately forms the start of a deep and serious relationship. 2. Over time, love grows stronger, whereas lust becomes weaker. Psychologist and sex therapist Shannon Chavez states that as attachment and bonding grow over time, so does love. But lust is more temporary and fades when sexual desire fades away. If a relationship is based solely on lust, there is inevitably no foundation to fall in love with each other. Lust feels like an exciting roller coaster but can only be sustained by physical pleasure. When the real work kicks in, the dynamic either transitions into love or the relationship begins to fall apart. 3. Lust is based on fantasies. Love, however, operates on the ground of reality. Have you ever looked back on past relationships and wondered how on earth you two got together? I don't know about you, but I sure do. Imagination can come in handy when life gets mundane, but more often than not, it's like a double-edged sword. When you like the idea of someone more than who's actually in front of you, it can cause you to miss a lot of red flags. Relationship experts state that there is only so much time before reality sets in and makes you realize that your partner has faults just like you and that your expectations were unfair. 4. In lust, you're romantic partners, but in love, you're lifelong friends. Psychiatrist Judith Orloff discovered that people in lust are just lovers, but true love is built on the foundation of a strong friendship. Sure, two people can agree to be in a relationship, go on fun dates, and even meet each other's family. But if they lack compromise, communicate poorly, and fail to understand each other, the prospect of having a future together is very low. 5. Lust is all about thrill-seeking, whereas love is the pursuit of stability. Researchers have looked at MRI scans of people in lust and found that their brains look similar when an addict gets a fix of cocaine. Sounds intense, right? But that's why infatuation is not likely to last as long as love. The drug effects wear off when you can no longer satiate your sexual desires. Whereas lust is about instant gratification, love is the relentless search for stability. 6. Lust is selfish, but love comes from a selfless place. When you love someone, you focus more on helping them reach their goals and care about their health and well-being. Lust, on the other hand, is all about your own wants, like boosting your ego when you're next to your attractive partner or simply fulfilling your sexual desires. In order to move from the initial stage of lust to love, you must determine whether you could see yourself doing favors or making sacrifices for your partner. Do you think you're in lust or in love? We hope that this video helped you differentiate between the two. Remember that just because you might only be experiencing lust doesn't mean that your feelings can't develop.
We all get a little more self-conscious when we're around our crush. We might put on extra deodorant, make sure there's nothing stuck in between our teeth, and wear our best clothes. But what happens when your crush is an introvert? They might not even notice you when they've got their head buried in their book. Your paths rarely cross when it seems like the two of you have different interests. And yet, it only took one time for you to notice how special they are. Here are 5 helpful tips when your crush is an introvert. 1. Just because they're still reserved around you doesn't mean they always will be. Patience is the way to an introvert's heart. It takes time for introverts to open up. It might seem like they're not into you if they're emotionally reserved, but this doesn't mean they don't want to get any closer to you. I thought my boyfriend wasn't into me on our first date when he was closed off, but boy was I wrong. Give them time and don't be discouraged or intimidated. Instead, see it as an opportunity to work up your charm. 2. When making plans, choose less crowded places that are comfy and casual. Introverts prefer comfy, low-key settings over loud, hectic areas. This doesn't mean they never go to big events or parties, but they prefer to do it in small doses. When choosing activities to do together, be considerate and pick fun things the both of you can enjoy without stressing your crush out. Going to the beach when it's not so busy, watching a movie on rainy days, and visiting the art museum are all some options to keep in mind. My boyfriend's personal favorite is going to quiet places with me where he can get great shots on his camera. 3. Don't take it personally if your crush needs some alone time. You probably want to spend as much time with them as possible. That's understandable. Who doesn't enjoy hanging out with their crush? But introverts can get overwhelmed after a long day. Even extroverts need to recharge. Be supportive and allow them time to unwind. It just means they're preparing for the next time you guys hang out. Bonus points if you leave them a cute note or encouraging text. 4. Speaking of texts, find out the best way they prefer to communicate. Some introverts, especially shy ones, feel more comfortable texting instead of talking in person when you first meet them, whereas others hate texting all the time and prefer to make plans to hang out in person. Find out what their communication patterns are and contact them accordingly. My boyfriend hates talking on the phone unless it's an emergency, so we stick to face-to-face conversations and text messages. It might be hard to get the ball rolling initially, but introverts like to feel connected to the people they talk to, so skip the small talk and dive deep. 5. You don't have to be introverted to make a good impression. Yes, birds of a feather flock together, but opposites also attract. Just because your crush is an introvert doesn't mean they're expecting their ideal lover to be one too. If you're an extrovert, be mindful of their space and always ask before assuming they like going to the same exciting places as you. Introverts know how to have fun too, but some activities, events, and settings can be too much for them. It's not about changing who you are, but meeting somewhere in the middle. Introverts can be hard to read, so we hope these tips can come in handy. What are some challenges you face with your introverted crush? Please share your thoughts with us below.